keeps me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at and turn it back around. You can't stop me.
Well, good evening. Welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, with me in the co-host seat again is the Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
Doing well. I had to actually get a polo back on. I know y'all had to be freaked out earlier with my reflective arms.
Oh, please. You look great in a tank top.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they got a blazer on them.
Hey, there you go. Oh, but yeah.
Oh, please.
Oh, checking us out, making sure we're going everywhere.
I'm sure we're going everywhere and sending us places we've never gone before.
Basically, especially with Mountaineer Pagan Nexus. That's been friggin' awesome.
It has been, and it's going to be awesome. It'll be fun, actually, some of the things we'll be able to do over there that we may be not able to do elsewhere.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, already got people signing up, so that's awesome. So they caught the live earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! So glad you guys caught that. If you didn't, you can also go watch it. Hey, Brenda, speaking of people who've already joined.
Hello, Miss Brenda. How are you, darling? Hope you're well.
Yes. Oh, we have... I know who's excited about the Pagan Nexus. Sorry, it took me a second. I was like, wait, what? Sorry, screen name got me. I had to remember a whole conversation. So, yeah. Hello.
Yes. Love the home. It works so much better. Yes, it does. It will work a lot better. We had thought about... Well, I'll be honest. I had thought about doing this when we first started, but I didn't know if anybody wanted it. You know, we can build out beautiful things.
Yeah, I think we quickly heard everyone wanted that, especially at the mobile level.
Right.
It's Mountaineer Pagan Nexus in your pocket. Come on, guys.
Right.
Oh, best comment. I think we'll have all night just there. Oh, love it. So, yeah, if you guys are watching on YouTube, that would be the Mr. Bath. I will out him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brenda's like, I didn't use the old one. It fought with me. We understand.
We understand because we were trying to make it work. The old one will be going away tonight. So if there's anything on the old one you want, go get it. Otherwise, it'll be gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And
I think we're all happy to shut that one down. I don't think... Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen, because I tried to look through, it doesn't look like anyone got really, 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 deeply enmeshed.
Right.
So, yeah. And we are talking about the website version, not the Facebook version. We're going to wait a little longer on the Facebook version, I believe.
We're going to wait until Facebook takes us down.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I believe Facebook will take down Facebook groups.
Probably.
So, if you're taking one of my classes, you will see that there will be a new posting, and we'll be moving them out of Facebook.
Yes, and I am loving that, Shannon. Shannon's going to talk to the teen about putting together a parent and teen group.
Yes.
Pagan for teen.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Or teen for pagan. Okay, we'll figure out titles. She'll figure out titles.
Well, there is a pagan teen thing. I'm sure Beth is listening.
Oh, there's a question. Moving the break room out of Facebook. Actually, we're talking about Mountaineer Pagan Nexus, which is separate. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Ashley. Currently, no. The break room's staying where the break room is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could. It would all depend upon if all you guys go there. And if you do, hey, we're cool with that.
Right. But we'll talk about that. Next month, I'm scheduling a barista meeting because I want to talk to my baristas and just have barista input.
Okay.
It will be on a night that is interesting, and we can all see what you guys want, because as baristas, when you're part of our Patreon, you control our Patreon.
You do. Like, we want to make you guys happy.
Yeah. I mean, we are very grateful for the support. We were very grateful for the, standing behind us. I'm thinking it's going to be a Zoom so everyone can get their voices up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yup.
All right. So let's talk about my weekend. My weekend was a little busy, guys. We really tried to pull everything off, and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, there was not a Mountain Bears last week. No, it didn't get suppressed. No, you didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
We were on the road.
Yes.
Yeah. Friday.
And Joe got hurt. I fell off a rock.
Well, that's because we took you out in the woods.
Yeah.
I'm
not that kind of bear. That is not my natural habitat.
Well, I know you're a city bear.
I will starve and I will fall. Again, Exhibit A.
You're fine, though.
I'm fine. What happened, just to clarify this, I literally was one step away from being perfectly fine, safe, and happy where I wanted to be. And what I did was, instead of taking two steps and taking one step forward and then one step down, I took one step down. And where I took that one step down was not like a 2-foot differential like I thought it was, but a lot more. And so I went over like a bad robot. And I landed, like my whole body fell onto my elbow.
Mm-hmm.
I did suffer for pictures.
Yes.
But the pictures were gorgeous.
They were. And we still have ones that are going to be barista only.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Like, we all had the same reaction of, oh, shit.
My reaction was, wiggle your toes or I'm calling a helicopter.
Yeah. There was a brief flash for everyone that was like, all right, we're going to have to get a helicopter out of here. All right. Like, everyone just kind of locked in. Like, all right. Like, well, crap.
Because where we went to, there's only 2 ways out. By foot, or they will fly you out if you break something.
Yeah. But it was a beautiful day. It really was. It was a fantastic day. For baristas only just gave me OnlyFans vibes. No. I've already talked him out of an OnlyFans. Don't talk him into it.
You haven't talked me out of it.
I've been trying to talk you down from it. Like, I'm just saying.
Furthermore, that's more content I have to create, and I'm doing bad enough at creating content. I done blew up one computer, killed one keyboard.
True.
Almost apparently, it killed a cell phone.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Like, yeah, let's do more content. That'll go well.
Yeah, let's do more content. Of course, I've always thought about cameraing the house.
Oh.
Hey, Bravo, give me a call. Well, let's have a talk.
Well,
if you think going out of medium's fun, check out, the Voldemort of West Virginia.
Yeah, I have to quote Shannon on this, but I'm not a good person to put that expectation on. And I wouldn't do it, but I'll cheer you on. Oh, Oh, you didn't. You did not take photos of my fall or me making love to the rock.
Right.
No, there was no rock love.
There was a lot of rock love, and you just didn't love it.
No.
It was highly attracted to you.
Rock.
Yep.
I don't think that was the kind of interaction the rock wanted, and I wasn't so keen on it either. Like,
well, apparently the rock was very attracted to you because it drew you down to it.
Yeah, well, next time the rock can ask for consent.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Sunday, I taught a candle magic class to 2 wonderful students. I hope you got your follow-up emails. Remember, you do have access to me anytime you need me for messages.
I was cuddly with the rock. Like, I was a little afraid to move there for a minute. I didn't know. I was like, oh, man. Like, yeah. I don't want to have to call my surgeon on a Saturday.
Wow, I'll talk to Dr. Hunter any day you want because, you know he's on call.
Yeah.
Dr. Dum Dum can't be bothered.
Yeah.
He's too busy going off to play golf.
Well, now, Dr. Hunter was cool. Now, who was it we had? Dr. Hurt? Right after surgery, the one that removed the balloon?
Yeah, that was Dr. Hunter.
No, that wasn't Dr. Hunt. That was 2 different doctors.
Okay. The one...
Dr. Hurt?
Dr. Payne.
Or Dr. Payne.
Yeah, Dr. Payne.
Horrible. Horrible name for a doctor when you're like...
Oh, please. Dr. Payne is a wonderful eye, nose, and ear doctor. His son apparently is going into spinal surgery.
Is that like the lawyer Phil Tissues?
Leave my lawyer alone. He's a wonderful attorney.
I'm sorry, I just think it's the most one of the most amazing names for a doctor, Phil Tissues.
He's not a doctor.
For a lawyer.
Yeah.
Though I went and had a professor who explained the story of her husband. There's a legal environment of business class. Her husband was an attorney, I believe turned judge, actually. But straight out of college, him and 2 of his friends really thought long and hard about creating a law firm together. And it was the law firm of Hassel, Sue, and Slaughter.
That would have been an awesome law firm.
Yes.
No, we did not bring a piece of the rock home with us. It was a little too big to bring home. And somebody already has enough rocks in this house, apparently, I've been told.
Basically. They're lying all about the place.
Well, of course they are.
You have to dust under them and over them and around them, and you can't go through them.
Depending on who you are.
Well, there you go.
You know, it's my house, so it's depending on which level of vibration you're on that day.
There is that. Apparently, my vibration is run into things and do bodily damage.
Daily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm at as human. How about you? But, yeah. Not quite hamster ball ready, but, contemplating it, researching,
right.
Pricing it. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Aw, Brenda brings back rocks from everywhere. I love that. That is very awesome. My grandparents actually did that when they were traveling. So technically at the old house, if we had tried to go through it, because that was going to be the bigger struggle, because those have gotten compacted down a lot over the years. Mm-hmm. But there at the end of the porch were rocks from 50 different states.
Yes, we have seen the West Virginia rocks. We have a few. And there's a Facebook tag you can do on that.
Aw, she has a turkey one she never re-hit. Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. I've got a West Virginia one. I've got Gargangatus ones. But I've been thinking about, I wonder if I could start doing that in a spot in the backyard.
Oh, create a little quarry?
Starting to create a little flower bed out of the rocks from the places we go.
Yeah, I was between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Anyway, bad jokes.
Very bad joke. Anyway, next time I'll send you down the river. So, great candle magic class. If you missed it, I will be putting it up on Teachable if you would like to take it.
Oh, they say it brings a bit of the energy to the place with it.
Very cool.
That would be so much energy.
Yes.
It's true. This is very true.
So we're coming up on, and I think it's already passed, 1 year of George Floyd. The anniversary of George Floyd's death.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many other shootings other than George Floyd since this time. I find it interesting that, Biden has come out pro-police reform. I think the U.S. really needs to look at the British police system.
Oh, we can build cames.
Yeah.
I have a word to look up, but yeah. So we are excited to hear that Biden is on board with police reform.
Right.
And really, I think that is a subject that needs such a better, more descriptive set of wording. It's not police reform exactly.
Right.
It's a reform to what we expect police to do. Because unfortunately right now, if it's not a fire and it's not a medical emergency per se, like you're not bleeding, dead, dying, injured, involved in a motor vehicle accident, it's a police matter.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Those are your three options when you call 911. Is anything burning?
Goes to the fire department.
Yeah. And some EMT related.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, EMTs responding to motor vehicle accidents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, stabbings and shootings and drug overdoses and all of that. And then literally at both scenes, you will have police. At either one they're called out to, but then you also have the additional, it's not just law enforcement, it's everything.
Right.
And unfortunately we have never had, nor should we have ever expected a police force to be capable of handling all that is asked of them.
Right.
That's sitting there trying to sluice out a situation in which someone is going through a crisis, someone is going through, a medication withdrawal, someone is nonverbal, someone is, incapable of properly understanding the situation around them. That is nothing we train police for.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't. Period.
Well, we were talking about this, and we were talking about all the training they go through. They
Mm-hmm.
go through offensive driving, defensive driving, weapons training, taser training now, gas training, dog training. All this training, we don't train them for social work. They are not social workers.
Mm-mm. They're not. Period. Into discussion. And a lot of the situations that they're faced with are more in a social work, not quite medical exactly, situation. Especially anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And none of those are they set up to really properly determine,
Right,
or respond to.
right.
It's, to be crude, it's a hammer and nail situation.
Right.
When you're a hammer and you've been trained to use aggression to solve a situation, everything looks like a nail.
Right.
You can't hit people enough to make their hallucinations go away.
No.
You can't hit people enough to make them not suicidal. You can't hit people enough to deal with the fact that they are not neurotypical.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. It's not going to happen that way. It really does have to be handled at a totally different level.
Right.
So I'm there. I think we all should have been there long before now.
And I think that it's long overheld and done that we need to, and we've seen this. Europe's police forces, you have certain ones that handle this, certain ones that handle this, certain ones that, we have it here, but we have it in different areas. We have a SWAT team to handle SWAT situations. We have traffic cops to handle traffic situations.
Well, but more and more we're using SWAT teams to handle everything.
Yeah.
And I will point out a lot of that has to do with asset forfeiture and the problems with that. In which you have taken police departments and made a lot of their funding dependent upon asset forfeiture anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've also coupled that at the same time in which excess military equipment is being, freely handed out like candy, at a price,
Mm-hmm.
but freely handed out like candy to police departments.
Right.
Invariably, you're creating one of the most armed to the teeth police forces in history.
Right.
You're inevitably going to move this into a direction in which, to be a little crude about it, they want to play with their toys.
Right.
Like, that's some heavy duty equipment. That is some nice gear.
Yeah.
I can, to an extent, understand it. It's just horrific what happens when you deploy someone acting in a SWAT manner
Mm-hmm.
to what does not require a SWAT response.
Well, what is scary to me, and this has nothing to do with George Floyd, this is actually New York. A normal New York standard beat cop is out armored, is out armors, out guns, and out trains our military personnel. New York City police cop. That is scary.
It is, and it's functionally problematic. And it ultimately, we're getting into an arms race.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. We're creating an arms race.
We're creating a military, and that needs to stop. We are not invaded. We are not under siege. We do not need military level police.
No. Well, because fundamentally what we're talking about is law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Not judge, jury, executioner. We're taking on a terrorist situation on every single call.
Right.
But if you start handing out this equipment and armoring everyone up, and like the one speaker we were talking about a while back,
Mm-hmm.
that is effectively doing courses or doing instruction days at police stations, academies, everything all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
In which, one, it's religious-based training at churches, by the way, that is built around the idea that you should be prepared to die, or that you could face death and need to take a life at any moment.
Right.
Okay, we are not in Beirut on a bad day in most of the U.S. Like, the vast, vast, vast majority of the U.S. is not Beirut on a bad day. No. If you're approaching your job like that, as an officer, I understand having caution and a lot of it, but necessarily running that next level of that in which you're working in terror, that's only going to breed problems.
Exactly.
You can't help that if that's your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that is the same as people that feel like they cannot go to a grocery store without a fully loaded weapon or three.
Right.
Like, no, I'm sorry. That's a mindset. If I have to do that to go to Kroger, I really expect the world to be screwed. Like, end of the world, zombie apocalypse, screwed. At which point, I'm not going to Kroger. Like, I fully believe I will not survive the zombie apocalypse. I'll just, like, stay home.
Run it out.
Yeah.
One would hope.
Like, I'm not just going to Kroger.
Right.
No, sorry. Hopefully the eyes of Amazon will...
For the invisible assistant to go run a trip.
Pardon?
Will you check and see if your desk has a key for the invisible assistant?
A key for the invisible assistant?
Yes.
Oh. I'm looking now.
Sorry, guys. We just got a major rainstorm that wasn't predicted because we were at 30% chance rain.
Sorry. I don't know where the key is. I had one earlier.
Look and see if it's in the bowl.
Yeah.
On the shelf.
Oh, wait. Found it. There we go. Sorry about that. That was my fault.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So we got a rainstorm. We're finally starting to get rain. It's been hot as Hades. The air conditioners have moved in. We're sorry if you're hearing air conditioner noise in our audio.
Yes. Aww. Oh, Mini Tank is homeschooling until the end of the year. A kid in his class tested positive for COVID, so the entire class is on quarantine until June 1st. Last day is the 2nd.
Oh my God.
Mini-Mot. Hey, he's Mini Tank too. He can be both.
Yeah. Mini Tank, Mini Mot.
Yeah.
The Mini Mot tank.
The slightly less grumpy tank. But he is slightly less grumpy.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah. I hate to hear that. Now, granted, we're looking at COVID numbers being down, but here it is, a child. Minimont, I think, is what? Emily, 8, 9?
7? No, I don't think he's 9 yet. Sorry, I'm visualizing the Mini-Mot.
Yeah. 8. Yeah.
Don't ask me how I do that.
An 8-year-old has COVID. Oh, but it doesn't affect children. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
He's even too young for the vaccine because it's only cleared to age 12 and up.
Yep, just turned 8 in March. There we go. Sorry, I had to move him forward.
Yeah. We haven't seen him in a year and a half. I bet he's going to be so tall.
I know, right? I don't know tall is going to be quite the word for it. Like, I mean, the Mots are kind of a short family.
Yeah. All right. So, an interesting story coming out of Kansas that's really aggravating me.
Or I could be wrong and he shut up. All right. So, yeah, anyway, you were moving right along.
Deputy reporting that students say Kansas lawmaker kicked him in the testicles.
That's a headline we both had to do a double take on. So, yeah, apparently Kansas State Rep Mark Samsel is also a substitute teacher. And apparently an art class got a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually charged last week with 3 misdemeanor counts of battery following his interaction with 2 students ages 15 or 16 in an art class.
Right.
Come on, like, really? Art class? Like, seriously? So anyway, he says he demonstrated a kick after one boy disrupted class.
Mm-hmm.
But swears he didn't kick the boy and that the boy had embellished the heck out of it, quote. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right now they're calling them allegations, which of course they're going to.
Right.
But the school district has banned Samsel from its property and events for a year.
I think he needs to be just kicked out of office. I think he does not need to be a substitute teacher. This should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Yeah. But apparently he can also face disciplinary action from the Kansas House.
Good.
Yep.
We need to start seeing more disciplinary actions in our houses. We need to start seeing more disciplinary actions in our senates. And we need to be seeing more actions of calling in these child abusers and saying, you're not a teacher. You're not a leader. Be gone.
Yeah. Well, what's even more disturbing in this story is the deputy says that when he asked the lawmaker why he had put his hands on the boy, Samsel pointed towards the ceiling. And when asked whether God told him to do it, Samuel answered twice. Yeah.
Can we call it a vow?
Do I now?
We need a psyche vow because that's a sign of psychological trauma here.
Yeah. That's they had the Franklin County magistrate ordered Samsel to go undergo a mental health evaluation, and has next court date set for July. That's just like that's layers of like a lot.
Of a lot of interesting is Scott asked for the magistrate not to release the affidavit, but the judge chose to release a redacted version. So this may be even worse than we are currently aware of.
Well, I would say most of the redaction is probably going to be, because that was his attorney asking, Christopher Scott. Possibly, I'd say the redacted portion is going to be everything about the 15 to 16-year-olds.
Hopefully.
Doubtful, like any identifying information. Other than they were students in an art class.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so Emily points out I once had a regular patron who would slip me notes saying she was the daughter of God. She frequently popped over whenever the mental hospital down the road released her. That's kind of another part of the whole thing. We have a major, and I'm not saying they're all one thing, but it is a part of the greater whole. We have a lot of problems with mental health care, especially for people who have severe mental health problems.
Right.
That do not immediately have a willing family member to take care of them, and to have that kind of time to take care of them.
Right.
Because we don't typically have enough resources for someone who needs a lot of supervision, a lot of care, all the time. Like, there's a lot that gets into.
Right. But that's an issue in this country. We haven't had good mental care since the 40s when the sanitariums were enacted.
But then again, that almost begs the question, did we ever?
Well, I'm sorry. I think the sanitariums done a lot of good for their time and when they were managed correctly.
I don't know that I can 100% back it. In terms of, I think the idea was good.
Right.
I think the intent was originally good.
Right.
I think a lot of things got ugly with the profession as well as what was allowable within institutions that were meant to be providing comfort care in many situations. That, to be rude, this person's issues are detrimental to their ability to function in society.
Mm-hmm.
They're not curable issues. And while I understand there was a long, horrible, misguided period, primarily notable by lobotomies and electroshock in a lot of instances, and the extent to which it was used. Like, it wasn't just used lightly, it was used punitively.
Mm-hmm.
And the kinds of issues they were attempting to treat that should never have been attempted.
Mm-hmm.
As in trying to fix, sexuality with electroshock
Right.
or lobotomy.
Right.
Those are most horrible. Well, and valid point, sanitariums were used in some instances to get rid of troublesome kids and wives as much as actual mental health.
Right. I'm not saying that it was a perfect situation.
No, it wasn't.
Was it a situation that got some people some good care?
Yes.
And a place to live, and they weren't on our streets? And when I say they were on, and I don't care that they're on our streets. What I care is that they're having to live on our streets.
Yeah. The problem isn't we're angry at homelessness. We're angry at the fact that someone has to be homeless. Those are two totally different things.
Right. Okay. That's my problem. Sanitariums at least gave them a place to stay, at least gave them some treatment, at least made sure they got some sort of medication, at least
and
gave
meals.
them some treatment and meals.
Yeah. And better run would have probably been a better situation.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's still like there's a lot of issues there.
Right.
It's just it's also very sad. It's a situation where there are no good answers.
Mm-hmm.
There's not always good outcomes, and it's just degrees of how bad.
Right. But, when they were strictly used correctly in their day, they were probably the best care you could get. They were probably a lot better. A lot of people that were able to survive better than they are now. Because they didn't live under a bridge because they thought God told them to. They weren't trying to figure out where their next meal's coming from because no one told them they should eat.
Or, more importantly, no provision was made to feed them.
Exactly.
That they were going to be pulling food out of a dumpster or dependent upon someone being nice to them.
Right.
With whatever strings were attached to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we're at. I know this is a very downer topic. There's no happy version of this. But that's fundamentally a lot of what we're also facing in this.
Yeah.
Is because you cannot directly extract severe mental health issue, as in detrimental to total ability to function in society, from the many other treatable forms of mental health issue, and the co-use of drug and alcohol, of substance abuse, to self-medicate, from the substance abusing group that may in many cases also end up homeless, from like all of it is kind of one thing. It is, but it isn't. That it's one continuous spectrum of issues that no, we don't really have proper policing for. Like, that's not a police thing. That it can't be.
Right.
And fundamentally, what you're asking officers to do in that situation is hide the problem.
Right.
One way or another.
And they are doing hiding the problem. Most of the people in jail are there because they have a mental problem. They shouldn't be in jail. They should be getting treatment.
Well, and also the long, complicated, vicious circle of, okay, so you end up on the street homeless. Okay, so you end up on a corner asking for money. And then you have people telling you to go get a job because you're lazy. But have you ever tried to apply for a job without a permanent residence? Nor have you ever tried to apply for a job when you have been, forcibly or otherwise evicted without your stuff, which includes all your identifying documents. Because good luck without a social security card, birth certificate, and etc. Trying to set up the simple basics of housing, employment, bank account.
Right.
3 little things that a lot of people take for granted that you should just be able to do. You cannot do. You cannot get utilities without 2 forms of identification. You cannot get a driver's license without a birth certificate. You can't get a birth certificate without a form of identification. Can't get a form of identification. Like, it's just around and around and around. And trying to fix this is something that even with help, people struggle with. And it doesn't just happen to people like it. We've talked about it with Appalachian Pagan Ministries, with the problems that prisoners face when they get out of prison, and no one's bothered to take control and protect their documentation. Like it happens to abused spouses when they have to flee in the middle of the night. Like, you can be a intelligent, functional human being otherwise, but if you don't have all these little slips of paper, good luck, because it becomes a vicious circle.
Around and around and around and around and around. Yeah. Totally understandable, totally a problem. And it's like people that have problems prior to 9/11. 9/11 just made those problems harder.
Yeah. And they're getting harder every day.
Exactly.
The more we push for ID to vote, the closer we get. Well, okay, backing up before that, we now have for federal and not for federal IDs.
Right.
We made a distinction there on identification cards and driver's licenses as to whether or not you had provided the documentation necessary for it to be a federally recognized form of identification or not.
Right.
So we have a lot of people that in many cases will never get a for federal ID because they have no plan to fly.
Right.
Point blank, unless you're going to fly, you don't need it.
Right.
But the problem becoming, many states have like a lot of states have actually gone ahead and adopted the same process for both. West Virginia is one of them. The difference is $10. How much do you pay the DMV when you go in to get your identification? Because you're going to have to provide all the same documentation. It's how much did you pay? Whether you get the for federal identification or not for federal. At least it was at our local branch when I was in Princeton. It was the same documentation. They had them listed differently. Like they had the requirements for both. But when you actually went to do it, they followed the for federal.
Right.
The only difference became at the end whether or not you wanted the little for federal identification or not for federal identification on it, and whether you paid $10 more.
Right.
I'm like, you're going to run me through all the same hoops. Why don't you just have one process?
Right.
Why? Because you won't issue me a license, a not for federal license, unless I jump through the 4 federal
hoops of proving who you are.
So why do you even bother?
Right. And I don't know. I think that we get so much stupidity going on. I don't have a federal ID. I have a passport.
True.
Yeah. Because my hoops are going to get a little bit bigger in at least the next year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and at the same time, though, we also run into the situation
Mhm.
that this is eventually just going to get harder.
Right.
We had enough trouble getting when I moved,
Mhm.
just getting my license.
Mhm.
All I technically needed to do was change my address
Mhm.
on my license. I had to go through the same 4 federal identification hoops
Mhm.
as I did when I first got the license, when I
Right.
moved back to West Virginia.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I saw the writing on the wall and the fact that they were asking me for all the same things when I got there, so I was just like, screw it. Give me the 4 federal.
Right.
Yeah, the real ID, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashley says Sonny doesn't have a real ID, federal ID, because one of his documents has a suffix and one doesn't. And it's terrible. I can't imagine for people that have less than what he did. Oh, it gets worse. Get married and divorced a few times. Lose one piece of paper in that trail of going from, Miss Jones to Mrs. Adams to Miss Jones to Mrs. Knight to Mrs. Whatever. Lose one slip of paper in that.
Mhm.
Lose one piece of paper.
Mhm.
And heaven help you if it's in a different state.
Right.
And something happened to it and no one can find it. I saw a poor woman who had been to that damn DMV 7 different times trying to get her license, hoping she had the right paperwork this time.
Right.
Because she would get so far and then they'd go, but we need this document.
Mhm.
And she's like, but why?
Right.
Like, I went back to my maiden name each time.
Uh-huh.
Why do you need to go all the way back to 18 or 16?
Uh-huh.
All the way back to the very beginning and see every single name change I've ever flipping had.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely requirement when you have continuity
Mhm.
in your life, when you can have a stable address that you live at for a decade or more.
Mhm.
It's not so bad. You don't lose much when you're at the same place for 1 decade and then another decade and then another decade.
Mhm.
But if you're effectively, what's typically called a military family or a military brat, and you're moving all over and you've changed schools half a dozen times in the last few years, and then you went here and you went there and you went this other place and you've had so many addresses, you can't even begin to answer those verification questions that they give you when they do the little credit check. Who are you? Like, did you ever live at this address? And what county is this address in? And what car did you own? And blah, 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 blah. If you start struggling with those, you're going to have problems.
Right.
Because that's more pieces of paper, one right after another.
Right. Well, I'll give you an example. When you start pulling the cost thing, I have to think what car I owned, what car my partner owned, what car my mother owned. There's about 26 different cars listed on my verification because my name was on them.
Yeah. Well, I had one recently. I had to, taxes. I had to verify because I'd lost the tax document and I had to go get it off the internet. I still don't know what I did. I lose that stupid document every year. But I had to do the verification, and I struggled because it threw me with a question. It really, truly did. Way back many, many, many years ago, my family owned property in a county that was like a summer place. Don't get excited. It's not fancy. It's a trailer. It's all it was. But it hit me when this question asked, have you ever, resided at this address? And I was like, no, immediately. And then I saw the county. And I went, for the life of me, have no idea what the address ever was at that stupid property.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't begin to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I know what county it was in.
Mm-hmm.
I can drive you to it.
Uh-huh.
I can find it on Google Maps, but in that moment, I'm sitting there going, I don't know what the name, like, one, it didn't even have a road name back then.
Right.
So if it's been 911 address now,
Mm-hmm.
well,
that's why, when you go to fill something out and it pops up, you have to come ask me, what address is this? And it's like, oh, that's the address from 1992 to 95.
Yeah. Well, and that's another problem you specifically have. You've been in one house for this many years,
mm-hmm.
but the address has changed so many times.
Well, not only that, but then and what's weird is I rented a house during a summer in college in West Hamlin, West Virginia,
mm-hmm.
for 3 months. Every time they will pull that house up.
Oh, I lived at an address for a month, and that one stayed for verification for I don't know how many years.
Mm-hmm.
And it drove me nuts because I had to keep remembering that stupid address.
Uh-huh.
It would. I was happy, like, when it finally started just asking me the trick question about an apartment I lived in and what county it was in. Mm-hmm. Because technically the city is the intersection of 3 counties.
Uh-huh.
Like, you can, in that city, live in one of 3 counties,
mm-hmm.
and it's a trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that one will trip you up. I had to stop and think of it and go, ooh, I don't know which county I lived in. I had to look it up finally.
Right.
But, yeah, that was a moment.
Yeah.
But, no, these are the things that... I understand we're supposed to know them. If you live there for, again, a decade, you'll know this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a no-brainer. But when we're talking about families that are income unstable,
mm-hmm.
when we're talking about people who have severe, unmedicated, untreated, unsupervised mental health problems,
mm-hmm.
That are effectively, on the streets, or are very, 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 volatile in their living situation, that's a lot.
Well, what's even worse...
It's a lot of addresses. It's a lot of places. It's a lot of things. And you're asking someone to be very rude right now, who is the very least capable of answering.
Right.
To know all this information at all times.
Well, and then we've got even worse situations with some of our vets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our government, who's supposed to be controlling paperwork, like, that's their second job. The first job is to take care of the people. Second job is to take care of the paperwork. Trying to figure out where this vet's records are. If this vet has a record, does he have benefits? What can he get with his benefits?
Mm-hmm.
What is he entitled to? Is insane. Like, you need to be a full-time activist to be able to keep up with it.
Yeah, I will say my dad, at the very end of his life, first considered going to a VA center for medical treatment. And we went right here down the road in Beckley.
Mm-hmm.
And he went in, and his idea of what that experience would be like, because we got there at 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, basically as the doors open. He went in with a firm belief that we'd be out of there before lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And so about 2:30, he starts apologizing.
Mm-hmm.
That this was, like, he hadn't been called back for anything at 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get his ID card, not to check anything, not to be seen by a doctor or a nurse or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was already 2:30. And he just started apologizing because this was nothing like what he thought. And I just looked at him and said, it was exactly what I thought it would be, and we'll probably be here after 5.
Yeah.
I said, so don't worry about it. I planned for this.
Right.
Like mentally, I was already prepared for this to be the experience because, hi, Dad, have you not read or watched the news anywhere in the last few years? This is what veterans are talking about.
Yeah.
That this is such an overloaded system
Mm-hmm.
that good luck. It's a crapshoot. It's a lottery.
Well, and it shouldn't be a lottery.
No, it shouldn't. It should not. It absolutely should not.
You know, especially when it comes to housing, VA care, VA benefits. It shouldn't be. We have a lot of people that can do paperwork and computers. They should be hiring them to go to places where vets need it.
Yeah. And Ashley, I'm going to take that as you're talking more about like the free clinic system or the sliding scale clinics when you're talking about public health. Because if so, yes, exactly. Those are also very overburdened systems that functionally, if you have to rely on those for health care, you're going to lose a job. Like you've got to choose. They're in the same state. That you don't make an appointment, it's kind of like walking into the DMV and pulling a number.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Right.
You know, may the odds be forever in your favor.
Yeah.
Like, you could die waiting.
Yeah. Same thing with ERs. Same thing with some doctors.
Oh, yeah. ERs. Yeah, oh, God. Yeah, doctor's offices in North Carolina, I can point you in the right direction. It's expensive, but worth it. But that's a side conversation. I used to work for a doctor. Briefly, love the doctor dearly. But yeah.
CJ, we don't agree.
No. Gladly. But yeah, she's a fun doctor. Most people, once you get over the shock and awe of her, she's pretty flippin' awesome.
Yeah.
She does concierge medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay a flat rate per year. You can see her as much as you want. And she gives you a cell phone number that literally rings her cell phone. It doesn't get better.
No. All right, so let's take a look because we do have an event happening tonight. And that is, of course, the blood moon.
I'm sorry, isn't the super flower blood moon?
It is.
Who names this stuff?
Marketing departments.
Oh my God. The super flower blood moon.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, that's just me reacting. It's like, what?
Yeah. All right, so first up, if you're Aries, hello. You may feel worn out, tired, beaten down by the world, but the lunar eclipse is here to shake you up and help you see the sky's the limit. If you start working on yourself to do better things, the last person you should give up on is yourself. The stronger you are, the stronger than you know, even if you don't feel like it. Super Blood Moon reminds you to keep on fighting. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, we're over here ticking. Sure. Taurus. The lunar eclipse here reminds you, Taurus, of your worth. It will be more exercise allowed than permitting those you care about to steal your thunder or take you down a notch. Criticism loses their power when banishing by people who haven't checked their own inventory and are hypocrites of their own actions. Look at the source before taking these personal attacks. Don't give negativity any energy. Turn a bad situation into a positive one by focusing on your amazing abilities, owning them, and standing tall in your confidence. Why don't you take your home? Well, why don't you take Gemini?
Oh, let me hop over. Yeah, I'm not a Gemini.
No, you're
so yeah, apparently the flower moon eclipse is bringing past life relationships into focus and asking you to choose the proper direction to take in this lifetime. Jesus, that's a lot on Gemini.
Uh-huh.
They're of two minds of everything, aren't they?
Yes.
Jesus. Choose now. So, yeah, apparently release the old crap that's holding you back. And yeah, the fear you're experiencing is the feeling of being out of control. And yeah, let go of those who aren't serving your best interest.
Yep. Clean house.
And then Cancer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. So I've been caught up in, like, that's me. Hi. I've apparently been caught up in what everyone else is doing and obsessing over every little detail of their lives. So apparently I'm supposed to forget Instagram and Facebook. Good luck on that. Hi, we do social media marketing. It's never gonna happen. Oh, for a mental cleanse. Good luck. Someone get in here with like some, like, I don't know, bleach. What?
Palo Santo. We can definitely do a mental cleanse on you.
Okay.
I'll get up the wormwood.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily feel like I have to compare and compete with people.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Am I really that there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Make you feel better about yourself not knowing every detail about your friends and family lives, as you won't feel as though you have to compare and compete with them. Yep, that's you.
Okay, so Ashley says, can you burn Palo Santo without burning sage first?
Yes, Palo Santo can work on its own.
Oh, please give me absinthe.
I wasn't going to give him absinthe. We're going to make wormwood tea. Let him do a vision quest over the night.
No!
Oh, Leos, romance is coming your way. Instead of embracing it, you're looking at a way of disengaging from this trendier emotions. The situation will require you to dive deep within your creativity and let go of the labels of in relationships. Taking a risk in love will lead you towards a long-term relationship if you're single. If you let go of the social norms, it will be worth it. As long as you step out of your comfort zone, lend with love to accomplish and attract your goals. If you believe in yourself and the impossible dreams within you, then you'll be able to soar to new insights.
Well, new heights.
Yes. All Virgos, lovely Virgos. A light bulb is going off above your head and awakening your heart in a new situation. You're finally seeing matters of what they are. Years after you started to second guess them, you may not be ready to embrace the harsh reality of this eclipse is bringing you, but rather than running away from such issues, try understanding your feelings, all of which will felt on the ground's semantic levels. Prepare yourself for tears, drama, and growth. The emotional breakthroughs that you are going through during the flowering supermoon will bring you closer to your innermost sentiment and personal views.
Oh, Libra's got it easy.
All right, talk to them.
Oh, the truth always comes to light in one way or another, blah, blah, blah. The eclipse is pushing you to see matters and relationships from a clearer perspective. Yada, yada, yada. Its glow is shedding insight into exposing clandestine matters and secrets. Oh, come on. It will even allow you to find deeper meaning in your daily grind, since it's pulling the blinkers from your eyes. Expanding your horizons will require you to look. Oh, come on. Libra's got this one easy.
Yes, they do.
Like, basically, go take a nap.
Well, especially since they are the ones that balance out everything and they tend to already see things through a lens. All right, on to poisonous Scorpios.
Yeah. So much like Geminis, apparently they're getting a make a choice. So yeah, there comes a time when change must be made. The eclipse urges you to take baby steps towards transformation, but only if you're ready to evolve. Yeah. If you aren't, then the universe will keep sending your way repercussions for old mistakes. So basically, go ahead and change yourself. Like, now's the time. But yeah, you can start to clear the slate and make payments towards paying back your karmic debt. If you're looking to get out of that this cycle. Moving towards newness and mending past traumas can and will be healing now. Again, Scorpio's got this one sort of easy. Like, change only if you're ready, and you don't want to.
Interesting that these effects will be held for 6 months.
Yeah, well,
because it's an eclipse. Sagittarians, the flower moon pushes you to focus on what makes you happy on a soulful level, which may mean cutting out a lot of toxicity in your life. Rather than keeping a relationship going that isn't working, it's time to be honest with yourself about whether you see the situation sustaining itself. If so, then your love can reach new heights and depth. If not, it's time to cut the energetical cord that binds you to the negative attachments and be honest with yourself about your true feelings. Don't be scared to let go.
There you go.
Capricorns, running around a 24-hour day, 7-day a week is taking a toll on your mental and physical well-being. This eclipse reminds you to take care of yourself and find a solace within. Try decompressing with a magical turn from a sound of bath and meditating in the waves of the ocean on a phone app. Clear your mind. The lesson can be learned to stop pushing yourself to the max when you are exhausted. Listen to your body. Rest when you need to.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Aquarians also get this one easy. Like, we're just going to cut to the chase on Aquarians because there's a whole lot of superfluous text here. And it's ultimately hidden in the middle is stop looking for validation from others. Have a nice super flower blood moon.
Well, and then you have every person as an independent and forward-thinking as you can get caught up into what that was close to them.
Yeah, but still, it's quit caring what stop looking for validation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brenda, you get a total break. Like, all you have to do is quit caring what other people think. Like, make that your focus, move on with it. You're good. You're good. And it doesn't even threaten you. It doesn't even threaten her.
Right.
Nothing happens if she doesn't do it.
Yep.
So Pisces. Oh, Pisces, you've been hiding away for the past few weeks and focusing on personal growth. Now is the time to show the world how all the effort you've been putting into yourself has paid off. So instead of overreacting to matters and crying over the simplest criticism, you'll let minor unpleasantries roll off your shoulders. You can take anything with a pinch of salt, which is why you'll be able to double up on asserting your voice at the workplace by asking your boss for that long overdue promotion or pay raise by being direct but not overly emotional. Like, hi, you're getting a raise. Just ask for it.
Yes.
That's Pisces in a nutshell. Just go to work, be yourself, quit, being ready on the verge of tears and ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Get it. That's pretty awesome.
Well, yes. And, here's the thing with it. Remember to make a wish tonight around 3:04. Within 6 months, it should occur. I'm personally going to be lighting another divine inspiration candle. Joe will be on fire alert.
Yes.
For the gates of hell to open up like it done last time.
Yep. Do I get to wear the fire helmet, hold the big giant hose, and have a Dalmatian?
No, you get to hold the lid to the cauldron and put it on there if it gets too big.
Okay. Yes, I am the angry astrologer. Like, I'm sorry, that just ticked me off. I'm like, here's these, what was it, 3 different signs that are totally, screwed right now. And the other 9 are like, do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Quit being a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for what you want. Stop hiding.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get a raise. Like, what the hell? The other signs are like, well, the three are like, well, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, here's what you have to do, or it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Do you want worse? No? Okay. Then
Fix
do
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone else is just kind of like, meh. If you really want to pay attention right now, you can.
Well, I'm quite sure, looking at the chart for tonight, that this lovely supermoon is hitting those three signs fairly hard because they're also playing off of planets. And it was also pointed out to me, and I hadn't kept up with it, that Saturn's in retrograde till November. So our taskmaster is being an ass and going, oh no, it's overdue. Oh, you're almost getting everything done? Not a problem. Fuck you. You lose your computer.
Yeah, basically.
Then, of course, we got Mercury in retrograde, which makes communication difficult. Oh, I don't know. I go to set the show up, the computer shuts off.
Basically. And that's the new one.
Yeah. Oh, Brenda wants you to start doing angry astrology videos.
You know, hey, give me something like that. I'll go through it and do a Joe take on it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's how I read that. That's okay. I apparently have never read my horoscope in like the daily or read the horoscopes in the paper. This is how I read them.
I haven't even read my work on horoscopes. How terrible.
I did too when I was having to edit it.
Uh-huh. All right. So what does Saturn in retrograde mean? It means if you're standing on the Earth planet and you're looking up, Saturn appears to be moving backwards in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And it also seems that the Saturn going backwards means the gravitation is hitting backwards. So Saturn normally is our taskmaster planet. It keeps us focused. It's very driven. You have a heavy Saturn in your chart, you're a very serious person and don't get sarcasm or satire.
Right now you're going squirrel.
You're going squirrel, shiny
crap.
stuff, lighter, washi tape. Mercury is in charge of communication, technology, contracts, anything to do with negotiation, because he's got the wings of, the Roman gods on his feet, and he runs around the planet, the sun, the fastest in the solar system. He's going backwards in the sky, so the gravitational pull is turning backwards.
I'm making you take Ashley's question. Why do most astrology readings sound so similar? This came up in one of your astrology classes.
Yes.
And I think it's a really important topic. I'm throwing it up for you guys.
Yes. Why do a lot of astrology readings sound so similar? It's because a lot of things are going on there. And you're looking at a generalized, like what we just read is a generalized. It covers everybody that's ever been born under that sign in that gravitational force. So it's going to sound similar because it's playing off of one astral body, the moon, who is super big. So she's got mega energy. I say Mother Moon just walked in with a microphone and going, oh, we are going to be emotional tonight. Let me put on a show. See me in pretty red because I'm so close. And, red's my color tonight, so I'm going to be all enthusiastic. And then, the curtain keeps closing on her, which is the eclipse. So, giving energy, taking energy away. Giving energy, taking energy away. Giving energy, taking energy away.
Well, and to some degree, there's only so many ways you can describe that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why that is. And we also had a question from Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Let me back up and make sure. Did we have any others come in? That was the only one I'd seen, and we were trying to get there, but then we did astrology, and so it took a minute.
Yeah.
So no, that's the only one I'm seeing. If you posted a question and you're not Ashley, go ahead and let us know, and we'll get that one up. But Ashley, when you're ready.
Okay, let me grab a deck.
All right.
Let me heat it up.
Really? As hot as it is outside, you have to heat up the deck.
Yes.
I would think the deck would be asking for ice cubes and some freezer time.
Well, this deck probably is mad at me because I haven't used it for a few days.
Ooh.
They needed a break.
Aw, poor deck.
It had done a lot of readings and was getting sticky.
Oh, no.
Yes. All right, shoot.
All right, Ashley, 82696. Can you give me any insight on the situation with my bio mom? A lawyer reached out about her, and I'm already over it.
Oof. Okay, this ain't good.
Uh-oh.
I would be over it too because it's dealing with past triggers and emotions. It does have the Diana effect, which is overcoming things. There are emotions there that you don't want to deal with. But there is a death card, which means quick and sudden changes, and it's also a new beginning. So I don't know what's going on with the lawyer or any other situation, but I will say that it is drama.
There you go.
All right.
So, yeah, I don't think we missed any others.
Okay. So,
but I will say happy birthday to CJ, whose birthday is on Sunday. Sound like this coming week. So, happy birthday. Don't know if you're still here, but because it's been a few minutes.
Yes, it does.
Happy birthday.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Governor Jim Justice and 4 other governors are acting like mind bosses.
I get the feeling like that's on page 6 below the fold.
Probably.
I'm just saying. Like,
Well,
have we noticed here recently that's been common?
Mm-hmm. So they are going to terminate the COVID supplemental unemployment insurance because they can't get people to go to work.
Well, and it's a really wrong-headed theory.
Right.
And it has been wrong from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Seriously, most of these people are qualifying for base unemployment at the lowest levels possible.
Yeah, $124 a week.
Plus 300.
Right.
Okay, let's all do the math here real quick. So you're telling me that for $424 a week, and assuming they get that for a whole year, that $22,000 a year is keeping people from working. What kind of crap employment situation are these people in?
Mm-hmm.
In which, or more importantly, how crappy is your offering?
Mm-hmm.
That $424 a week, $22,000 a year is supposedly a better choice. I'm sorry, I don't even know, because you're talking about $1,837 a month. And if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, $918. That's not a lot of money. Like I've been not take home wise, because keep in mind this is gross. This is gross. $918. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, this is a horrible argument to make, because what you're fundamentally talking about, because we're going to divide that by 2 again. Well, we already know that's 424. So 424, and if they're full-time 40-hour employed, that's $10.60. So we're talking about trying to fill positions. They can't get anyone to work for $10.60 or less per hour. Understandable.
Yeah.
Like, hi, did you catch the point that 22,000 is not going to help you survive?
Right. Well, we've recently seen now, like, McDonald's is at $10 an hour. Sheets has raised to $12 an hour. Kroger's has been at $13 an hour for almost a year now.
And that is struggle income.
Yeah.
Like, let's call it what it is, because this is gross. This is $10.60 gross. There's still taxes due out of that.
Right.
Like, do the math.
Right.
Like, this is not a lot of money to try to overcome. It means the job is supposedly something that should be worked by a teenager, which again, can we get back into that whole concept? Because I had a thought the other day.
Okay.
So if you have this belief that, you know, minimum wage jobs are for kids, that you know, all these are entry-level positions for kids, please tell me when school is in session who is supposed to be making your hamburger on your lunch break?
Well,
who is supposed to be there at 4 a.m. to make your biscuits?
Yeah.
Who is supposed to be there at the convenience store when you need a pack of cigarettes because you have a shitty job, but you get paid slightly better than that?
Right.
But who's supposed to be sitting at that counter?
Right.
Tell me, when school is in session, and it is between the hours that school occurs, who is supposed to be there?
Right.
Because the kids you think should work this job are where? Everyone say it with me. In school.
Should be.
Yeah. So why don't we, instead of saying that this is, you know, that basically this is low value labor, which is what you're trying to call it, why don't we recognize that, no, a lot of our world would be totally screwed, but not for people who work these jobs.
Yeah. Now let's take it a step further. How much was the monthly on that?
The monthly worked out to like $1,800.
$1,800 a month.
$2,000.
Okay. So $1,800 a month. Let's say you got a kid. So you need a 2-bedroom apartment. All right.
Preferably.
So 2 bedrooms in the Oak Hill. So what a 2-bedroom apartment in Oak Hill goes for? Or we'll have to go
around 7.
Huh?
I'd say around 7. No?
Because I know how much a 1-bedroom apartment goes for in Beckley. So let's see what a 2-bedroom apartment goes for.
Okay. Beckley or Oak Hill, sorry.
We'll go for Oak Hill.
Okay.
Okay. I know exactly where this home is. It is a 2-bedroom apartment. No utilities included.
Because really every landlord's tried to get out of that.
Right. Is $775 a month.
Okay. I was a little off.
Right.
So
plus $855 deposit.
So effectively you're starting at $875 off of $1,800 and change. So let's pretend for a second that number was $1,875. You have $1,000 for the month. You have to pay utilities on a 2-bedroom. You have to buy groceries. You have to get to and from work. You have a child. You are broke by week 2.
Right.
That's if you got all that money on day 1 of the month.
Right.
Like, sorry.
Right.
I used to take home, and again, this is gross.
Mm-hmm.
My take home at one point was around I'm trying to remember. I have to do the math now. Let's see. Divided by 26. So yeah, at one point when I first started working, I was at 1153. Oh, no, I wasn't. Times 0.74. I was at 853 each pay period.
Mm-hmm.
With a $550 a month rent.
Right.
Because I was paying exactly $1 per square foot of apartment that really wasn't 550 square feet.
Right.
You really had to get nitty gritty on that closet, and I'm pretty sure you had to count the shelves on top of the floor.
Right. What I'm saying is, for this apartment that is a 2-bedroom, 500 square foot apartment, 700, so let's take our bills and we'll cut them down. On average, in bills each month, I pay $1,500.
Yeah.
So cut that in half.
So another $750. So you got $300 to do everything else with.
Pay car insurance, pay gas, and buy food for yourself and your child, plus school books, plus everything else, because you make more than $1,100 a month, so you don't get state assistance.
Yep. Well, and that's a large part of the bigger problem.
Right.
As well. And I ran into that in a previous employment situation. With people whose lives would have technically been upended to have made any more money per hour. Because it would, unless they got a dramatic increase in pay, that hourly, because it was a commission-based job, so commission didn't count towards figuring out governmental benefits, because those commissions were variable. You could get $3,000 this month and nothing for 6 months.
Right.
Theoretically. Technically, at that point in that job, you would have been well past fired. But so everything was based on their hourly rate of pay. And because of that, they could qualify for, SNAP, HUD, after childcare. Literally, they were in a position that to replace all and insurance for children and for themselves, I'm sure, because God knows no one wanted the company-sponsored plan. But to replace all of that would have been a dramatic increase in pay. And they were literally scared of any moment in which the company offered them like 5 cents.
Right.
Because every 5 cents was pushing them a little bit closer to taking what would effectively be a dramatic cut in pay. Because they would have shifted to the point that, okay, now your income at the hourly level has to take up the slack.
Right.
So literally, they would have been in a month-to-month situation, worried about every single dime of commission and getting it, and not knowing if their children were going to have after-school care, because can mommy afford it this month?
Right.
Or can I afford to put food on the table? Or can I, what can I afford?
Right.
What am I going to lose? What am I going to have to give up to make all this work? That is where that company had people at money-wise. Was we were not paying enough to avoid government assistance. We were right there in like the border zone.
Exactly.
Where you actually had employees fearful of getting a raise. Then you had non-commission employees going, I don't get a commission, one. And North Carolina, I have the male equipment, so North Carolina said, "Good luck. We don't take care of men. You're male. Screw you. Get a better job.
Mm-hmm.
You want something better? Get a better job." Without actually recognizing the employment situation that was out there and the number of employers that were walking that line very, very carefully, because they knew that they could hire people and let the government take care of everything else, like pay them just below the threshold.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a nightmare. It's an ugly, ugly nightmare.
Right.
That effectively you're planning, much like we talk about Walmart, using the government to provide employee benefits, or to basically create the rest of your employee compensation. And if we're going to do that, can I point out the mass inefficiencies that exist there?
Right.
And that, the better solution would be a more broad spectrum approach.
Right.
In which we help everyone. No one has to deal with their employer health coverage, because, I was with an employer that jumped ship every opportunity they got. And working there was a never-ending series of insurance booklets, explaining what benefits I did and didn't have, and how I could use them or not, and going every 6 months to a year, trying to figure out what I could do, what I couldn't do, what I could take, what I couldn't take. Every doctor's appointment was kind of a surprise. Your insurance doesn't cover blank.
Right. Well, that's, what, I don't even remember when I had insurance. I think when one job I had wonderful insurance. Rest of it, I've never had insurance.
Yeah. And yeah, Ashley, I can certainly understand. I went through that in college, because effectively I was completely uninsured all the way through college. So I was really super excited when we, what's effectively called Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, extended coverage to children age 26 and younger of a, covered family, parent or guardian. I was so happy for that, because I've been through 4 years of college with no insurance, scared to death that every little thing it could or almost did bankrupt me.
Right.
Because I had one medical test that was $4,000, and the next thing I know, I had a judgment.
Right.
Because I can't pay $4,000. I'm a poor broke college student. Did you see my student loans?
All right, so I want to answer Shannon's question real quick. She asked, do I recommend doing a year and a day pagan class before the tarot class? I'm wanting to see what virtual classes I can do at my own pace and whatnot. I recommend you taking my tarot class, because it is designed for a one class block. If you haven't took a class with me, take my tarot class. Okay? See if it works for you. My year and a day program is a full year and a day. You will get a class. Yeah, it's not a, I can sit down on a Saturday because I got 5 hours and go through this class.
Right.
It is, I need a Saturday every month to go through this class. And I'm currently, while I do offer it virtually, it's not on demand yet. I am still working on how I want to run it. Brenda says my tarot class is awesome. Thank you, Brenda.
It's a good class.
It is.
And
it's a good primer.
A little tidbit from it: buy a tarot deck. It comes with a book. Use it to level a table.
Or set your coffee cup on. Someone pointed out that it's a lovely coaster. I don't know how I missed this.
I know. It's a great coaster.
Yeah.
But the last thing it is useful for learning to read tarot.
Right.
Because it's going to teach you a lot of bad ideas towards how to read tarot.
Right.
Like, and what he does, granted, it is built for Rider-Waite.
Yes.
He
sit
has
down
a
and done.
Rider-Waite based deck.
Yes.
But it will teach you to read that very quickly.
Yeah.
Because you're actually dealing with the cards, not the flipping book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's an awesome class. I have great reviews on it. It's over on Teachable. I am working on putting the links up. My Patreons did get the links early. Remember to use your discount codes.
Yes. Hi. We like saving you guys money.
Yes.
It makes us happy.
Right.
I'm just saying. It does.
Yeah. It makes us very happy for the things that you guys are supporting and enabling us to do. All right. Now, since, we haven't talked about the Orange Oompa Loompa for a little bit, let's talk about the Orange Oompa Loompa.
Yes. I will allow this one. That's where I'm at.
Yes.
So
go for it.
All right. Manhattan's top prosecutor has convened a grand jury that is expected to decide whether to indict former President Donald Trump. Should prosecutors present criminal charges in their probe of the Trump Organization, two people familiar with the matter told the Washington Post.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are.
Yep.
We are there. We are finally friggin' there.
Right. And of course, within this, and this is a developing story, it literally went live like an hour ago. We also have another story of Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene, idiot.
Oh, yeah.
There are calls for her to be thrown out of the Republican Party. Not out of the House, not out of office, but out of her own party. Go for it.
Yeah, so I cannot find the exact quote right now, but effectively she denied the Holocaust.
Yeah, said it didn't happen.
No. Equating COVID-19 safety measures with the treatment of Jews during the Holocaust. So she didn't deny it. It's almost an improvement of the GOP. I'm sorry, after the last 4 years, like how much Holocaust denial have we heard? So yeah, but she equated the effectively being that the mask mandates were comparable to how Jews were treated during the Holocaust. That's a statement.
Really?
Yeah, that's a lot.
I don't believe that any anti-maskers have been lined up, picked up at the middle of the night, and drug off to somewhere where they don't belong.
No, think we've missed that story if it's occurred. I mean, we'll gladly report on it if it happened, but I'm pretty sure we would have noticed that one. Like, again, we're not over here just trying to blow smoke up everyone's butts. I mean, like, that would be a hell of a story. Don't think it's happened. Missed that one if it did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. Yeah. So in response, after being called, after calling for her ouster, Greene has stood her ground.
Mm-hmm.
And quote, their attempts to shame, ostracize, and brand Americans who choose not to get vaccinated or wear a mask are reminiscent of the great tyrants of history who did the same to those who would not comply.
Right.
Holy. Oh, so Greene, her original issue was Greene compared the vaccination logo to the yellow Star of David badges that Jews were forced to wear by Nazi Germany.
Bullshit.
Holy mother. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I think that story just speaks for itself right there. Like, there's no...
Right. And here's the thing, and this is where I'm at. I think she
Yeah.
needs pushed out of the House. Like, how much does Nancy Pelosi have to put up with? How much level of government do we have to put into a psycho's hands?
True. Well, she has been removed from committee, as I last remember.
Yes. Now
she's basically ineffectual.
Right.
Like, she just has to show up for major votes and like pretend to care for 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she's got to work with.
Right.
She can introduce legislation. I don't see that going far, because she has nothing to bargain with.
Right.
So she's already kind of like ineffectual as possible. She still has platform. She still has, the title, but
yeah,
I'm not seeing this really. She has one term on her,
right?
Like written all over her. Like, this is going to be a one-term representative,
right?
Like, it normally doesn't go well when you get pulled from your committees that early on.
Right.
Like, it's one thing if you have a scandal in the middle somewhere and you get pulled off a committee for ethics. You can sometimes pull that out of the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that early on, it's like, no, you're screwed.
Yep.
Like, nope, not coming back.
Nope. Not coming back at all. All right, y'all guys. We've kind of reached our end. It's been a great show. If you're interested, check out the Mountaineer Pagan Nexus community.
Mm-hmm.
There will be some massive changes going on the website within the next month. And then the next site that's updating is mine. And then we're going to update we're going to be updating PCS Network. We have some cool things. We have some great ideas. But again, it is a process because, we can't magically make things better, but we'll be making them magically different.
Slowly, over time.
Yes.
But yeah, we do want to thank our baristas. We really appreciate your support. And I'm just waiting for this to swing back around real quick. We definitely appreciate it. We hope you're enjoying your benefits. You got the newsletter out. We had the wallpapers out, and we'll be doing our next wallpaper soon. But we do want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, Ashley Guest, Shannon C, and Shannon D. We really appreciate our baristas so much. And if you'd like to support the show or find out more about us and everything that we have to offer, please check out PCSPnetwork.com.
All right, y'all. Have a magical night. Wash your hands. Keep safe. And as always, make your wish tonight for what you want to be changing within the next 6 months of your life, because we got an eclipse, and eclipses are fun. Bye.
Bye.
Stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.